My dear students of class 10, welcome back to English classes. In the last class, I had begun with Act 3, Scene 2 of Merchant of Venice. We saw that Bassanio has reached Belmont to take part in the lottery of caskets. He prepared himself mentally ready to take part to choose the casket. Portia asked her servants to play music while Bassanio chose the casket. Bassanio went to the place where caskets are kept. He saw there gold, silver, and lead caskets, and he decided not to choose gold and silver. For that, he is giving the reason that he does not believe in external appearance. External appearance is always deceptive. He proves this by giving 2-3 examples. So this part also, the speech, a very long speech which was given by Bassanio, was also explained by me. But since it is very important, let me explain once again. So children, please take Act 3, Scene 2, line number 75. So in this speech, Bassanio says that so may the outward shows be least themselves. The world is still deceived with ornament. He says that though outward appearance is deceptive, people are still following it. He is proving this by giving 4-5 examples. Let us see the first example. In law, what plea so tainted and corrupt, but being seasoned with a gracious voice, obscures the show of evil? He says that in the law courts, even if the case is the most dishonest, it can be won by pleading in a fine, eloquent voice. In an eloquent voice, in a persuasive voice, if it is pleaded by an advocate, the case can be won. That's the first example. Now, Bassanio is very practical in life. And in the second example, he gives, in religion, what damned error, but some sober bro will bless it and approve it with a text hiding the grossness with fair ornament. He says that some religious looking people, when they commit some grave error, grave mistake, serious mistake, they try to hide their mistakes by giving examples from the religious books. So, some pious looking people, serious looking people, when they make mistakes, they try to cover up their mistakes by quoting examples from the religious books, from the scriptures. That's a second example. These are the examples he is giving to show that outward appearances are deceptive. And the next one, there is no vice so simple but assume some mark of virtue on his outward parts. There are so many vice, that is wrong things, mistakes. When you look from outside, they all look virtuous. How many cowards whose hearts are all as false as staves of sand, wear yet upon their chins the beards of Hercules and frowning Mars, who inward searched have livers as white. Another example what he gives is, there are so many people here, those who are cowards, that is they are mentally not strong, but outwardly by wearing the beards like Hercules and Mars, they look very brave, they look very courageous. But their livers will be as white as milk. During Elizabethan period, it was believed that people, those who are covered, will be having livers white in color, and those who are very brave, their livers will be red in color. So there are so many people in this world, those who are cowards, but outwardly they look very brave like Hercules and like Mars. That is, Hercules is the strongest person and Mars is a god of wars. So they both were considered to be the bravest and the strongest. So they want to look like Hercules and Mars, and they put beard like them, but their livers will be as white as milk. So, and this assumes but valor's excrement to render them redoubted. So people will not doubt them that they are not brave. Next, look on beauty, and you shall see its purchase by the weight, which therein works a miracle in nature, making them lightest that wear most of it. So next example, what he is giving, when you look at when we examine beauty, we will see that artificial beauty is purchased by weight. Some people, they do lot of makeup by buying cosmetics. So a person, one who wears artificial makeup or creates artificial beauty, is considered light in character. There are two meanings here for that. That is light in character also and light in nature also. That means light in nature means they look fairer than real. Actually, really, in reality, they are not as beautiful as they look now. But by wearing this makeup, which is purchased, they look more fair, but they are also light in character. Then, so are those crisped, snaky golden locks, which make such wanton gambols with the wind upon supposed fairness, often known to be the dowry of a second head, the skull that bred them in the sepulchre. So here, sepulchre means the graveyard. So here he says that you would have seen some people wearing wigs, and the hair of these wigs, they are crispy, golden in color and curly, very beautiful. But in reality, that is not their real hair. The wigs are making them beautiful, but that is not their real hair. And this is the hair of the people at present lying in the graveyards. So here also external appearance is very beautiful here, but in reality it is not their hair. Thus ornament is but the gilt shore to a most dangerous sea. Ornament means the external appearance. External appearance is treacherous. When we go to the seashore, we may feel that the seashore is extending forward, extending further. But when we try to go to that place, we may get cheated. And in a word, the beauteous scarf veiling an Indian beauty. So the external appearance is like a beautiful scarf covering an Indian beauty. Here Indian beauty does not mean the people of only India. Then can be red Indians or in West Indies. So here only Indian beauty means a woman who has a dark complexion. That is the only meaning here. So this external appearance is like that. It is a deceptive. In a word, the seeming truth which cunning times put on to entrap the wisest. That is, this is the external appearance is the trap. It is a trap to catch the wisest. Therefore, the gaudy gold, hard food for Midas, I will none of thee. So he is still looking at the gold casket and says that I am not going to follow you, I am not going to choose you. You are the hard food for Midas. Children, you would have heard the story of King Midas. He was very greedy and he wanted everything to be changed into gold. Whatever he touches, he wanted that they should be changed into gold. So he got a boon from God, and whatever he touched turned into gold. He got his first shock when his food changed into gold, and second time when he touched his daughter also changed into gold. So he requested or pleaded God to take back his boon. So it was a hard food for Midas. Gold is the hard food for Midas. I'm not going to, so because of that I am not going to choose you. The next one he says that nor none of thee, though pale and common drudge. He says that silver silver is the, what is silver? It used to be a medium for exchange of money from man to man in olden days. Silver coins were exchanged for buying things. But I choose you, O lead. He says that because of that I am not going to choose silver also, but lead, I am going to choose you. You seem to threaten rather than promising. He says that you meager lead, which rather threatenest than those promise aught. Thy paleness moves me more than eloquence. So he is very practical. Here he says that, O lead, I am going to choose you. You seem to threaten rather than promising anything. Your plain message moves me more than any eloquent words could do. Eloquent words means words which persuade you. Such words, persuasive words, are called as eloquent words. And I choose you. Joy be the consequence. He wishes that he should get happiness in his life. So till that I had explained, and hope you have understood. The further, Portia, how all the other passions flee to air, as doubtful thoughts and rash embrace despair. Portia says that all my feelings, all other emotions vanished into the air. What are the feelings? Doubt and despair, fear and green-eyed jealousy. That means jealousy is personified here. Green-eyed jealousy, the word jealousy is personified, and during that period it was believed that jealousy is a monster with green eyes. So she says that all these feelings is getting vanished. And what is there in her mind? Oh love, be moderate. Only love is there now. Allay thy ecstasy. So control yourself. Reduce my excessive joy. Be calm. In measure the rain thy joy. That means just control your showering. Scan this excess. Reduce my excessiveness. This excessiveness of love. I feel too much by thy blessing, make it less, for fear I surfeit. She says that, do this, make it less, lest I suffer from excessive joy. So she's asking the feelings to get reduced. Then Bassanio, what I find here, opening the leaden casket. He opened the leaden casket and he is asking what I find here. Fair Portia's counterfeit. Counterfeit means portrait. Yeah, I can see Portia's portrait. What demigod hath come so near creations? He feels that only a demigod could have created a picture like this. So a person, one who is very half divine person, that is very near to God, could have created this portrait. No ordinary person can make such portrait. And also he feels that, move these eyes, he is feeling that the eyes in the portrait of Portia, eyes are moving. Or whether riding on the balls of mine, do these eyes move, or do they seem so because my eyes move? And he is just praising the portrait. Actually he is exaggerating, that you can understand from the next few lines. Seem they in motion? He feels that the eyes in the portrait are moving. Here are severed lips parted with sugar breath. So sweet a bar should sunder such sweet friends. So again he is praising the lips also. So here are the lips of Portia in the portrait, which are slightly separated by her sweet breath. And it is so sweet a barrier which separates such good friends. He is calling the lips, upper lip and the lower lip, as good friends. And these two lips are separated by a sweet breath. The painter, here in her hairs, the painter plays a spider and hath woven gold mesh to entrap the hearts of men faster than gnats in cobwebs. Then he goes to the hair, beautiful hair. The painter has worked like a spider, spinning a golden web to entrap the hearts of men faster than the insects that are trapped in cobwebs. That means the hair is so golden, hair is so beautiful, and it is looking like cobweb, which is going to trap the hearts of men faster than the real cobwebs which trap insects. So hair is so beautifully painted in that. But her eyes, how could he see to them? Having made one, methinks it should have power to steal both his and leave itself. So next he goes to the eyes. But how was he able to see the paint her eye? Able to see to paint her eye. It seems that when one eye had been painted, it would have the power to blind the painter so that he could not paint the second eye. Now praising the eyes. Eyes are so beautiful. After painting one eye, that eye of Portia's portrait would have trapped the person one was painting. That means continuously he would be looking into the eye of Portia, in the single eye of Portia, and how he could paint the other eye. So these things are, Bassanio is exaggerating, he is praising but exaggerating all these things. And yet look, how far the substance of my praise doth wrong this shadow in underpricing. So this is the height of his praising, exaggerating. He says, yet see to what extent the words of my praise do injustice to her portrait by underestimating it. That means my words of praise are not enough to praise this portrait. So he feels that his words are not enough. It is still beautiful, still more beautiful. So far this shadow doth limp behind the substance. So yet look how far the substance of my praise doth wrong this shadow in underpraising it. So far this shadow doth limp behind the substance. So here, in the same way, the portrait falls short of the original, that is Portia herself. That means when you look at Portia, Portia is much more beautiful than the portrait. So first he praised the portrait, and he said that his words were not enough to praise. The words which we use were not enough to praise the portrait. After that, he also says that the portrait is much more less beautiful than the original Portia. That is, the real Portia is much more beautiful than the portrait. The continent and summary of my, here is a scroll. He got a scroll from there. The continent and summary of my fortune. He says, here is a scroll which summarizes my fate. That means it's going to tell what is my fortune. He is reading the scroll. You that choose not by the view, chance as fair and choose as true. Since this fortune falls to you, be content and seek no new. If you be well pleased with this, and hold your fortune for your bliss, turn you where your lady is, and claim her with a loving kiss. So here is there is a poem and scroll. It is written some lines. So let us see the meaning of those lines. In the lines it is said that you have chosen, you who have not chosen only by the looks, that we know very well. He has not gone behind the looks. He has chosen the leaden casket because he got attracted towards the words which were inscribed on the leaden casket. So the scroll says that you that chose not by the view, may you be the fortunate and choose as truly as you have done. That means we know that you have not chosen by the outward appearance, and let you may be fortunate. Be content and seek no new. So scroll is also advising him, be content with whatever you have got. That means he has got Portia, that is enough. Seek no new. Don't woo any other women in life. If you be well pleased with this and hold your fortune for your bliss, turn you where your lady is and claim her with a loving kiss. So scroll also says that if you feel that you are very lucky and you are happy with your choice, go to your lady and claim her with a loving kiss. Go to your beloved and claim her with a loving kiss. And he says that he goes there and kissing Portia. Now, I come by note to give and to receive. He says that I have come here because the scroll has directed me, and I have come here to receive you. And what is his condition now? Like one of two contending in a prize, the things he had done well in people's eyes, Hearing applause and universal shout, giddy in spirit, still gazing in a doubt. So, whether those pearls of praise be his or no. And now, after reading the scroll and winning Portia, Bassanio is confused, and he is explaining his confusion by giving an example. He is a person, one who has taken part in a competition. He is like a person, one who has taken part in a competition. And after winning the competition, he was confused. He could not believe that he has won the competition. He could believe it when people started applauding and praising him. So he was so confused after winning the competition, and he could not believe that he has won the competition, and only he believed when he heard the people applauding. People, those who were surrounding were applauding. So he believed that. So he was so giddy in spirit, excited he was, and still gazing. He was not confident that he won it. And people started praising and they started applauding. Only then he believed that he has won Portia. So he is in such a condition, like a competitor who could not believe about his winning. So, thrice fair lady, stand I even so, as doubtful whether what I see be true, until confirmed, signed, ratified by you. So he tells Portia that thrice fair lady, she is called as thrice fair lady because she is beautiful, she is rich, and she is wise. She is intelligent, she is wise. And he is calling her as thrice fair lady. And I am standing here doubting whether what I say is true until it is confirmed, approved by you. Now you have to approve it. You have to approve me. And till that, I will not be able to believe that I have won you. Okay, children, thank you. I am going to stop here in this video. In the next video, I will be continuing from line number 152. So please revise again and again and start reading your workbook. Thank you. Have a good day.